Good morning. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning, good morning. Hey, nephew. What's up, nephew? Mr. Mays, what's up? Mr. Allgood. Yeah, hey, nephew, you inspired me on this one here. Something you posted the other day, too. You kind of helped solidify my stance on something when you said something about women. And they, kind of raising the kids independent from, the father. You kind of encouraged me to step on this topic here. Yeah, but it's just a challenge, man, that we, especially as men, we got to kind of try to pull together and break what we call a generational curse, man, that's in our bloodline. It's not to blame anyone for anything, because everyone has their own challenges, and everyone wants what we may call love. Everyone seeks that same thing, but we have our different definitions of it. And according to the bloodline that we come through, our definition of love may vary from family to family. But I just want to step on a point here today, because I'm trying to break generational curses in my bloodline also. And in the book of Joshua, in the book of life, it gives a PowerPoint on helping to do that. It gives a PowerPoint on helping to break generational curses in bloodlines. Joshua chapter 1, verse 8 through 9. It gives us a PowerPoint for prosperity and success. It says, the book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. Now in the book has tied prosperity and success to meditation. And we know so little about meditating. We know so little about it, but we do it a lot, not in the order that it will benefit us. Meditation is a form of focusing. It's a form of focusing. And that's why the book says, meditate on the word. Because when you meditate on something, you meditate on it to form something. You're forming something. You form things through meditation. So that's why it ties success and prosperity to meditation. If we don't know how to meditate, and if we don't know how to lead it in ourselves in a meditation process, our prosperity and success will be very low. Hey, grooms, what's up? It's just a curse that, especially as men, we need to try to attack it. And it's not to put blame on anyone, as I used to. I used to put blame on my dad. I used to put blame on my uncles. But then once you get up and you get kids and you understand the nature of what's going on in the world, you see that you really can't blame anyone, for what's happening. Are you or me? I had to take the stance. I had to take a stance to say what I was going to allow to continue in my bloodline. So it's like, it's a challenge, but someone has to stop the perpetuation of disaster and struggle in the bloodline. Because if not, your bloodline will continue. It will continue to struggle. And hey, Mr. Crawford, how you doing? It's like, You know, all of us, we're in the same boat. You know, I can't point my finger at no one, and no one can point their finger at me or no one else, because it's no one is to blame. You know, dad, mom, we all was given the same, the same judgment. You know, we got to try to come out of the situation or struggle that we was given. And the book is saying that meditation is the point or a focus on leading us in a road to prosperity and success. So now the question is this. Here's the question. The question is this. Is your bloodline prospering, or is it struggling? Is it succeeding, or is it in disaster? Is it, hey John boy, how you doing, bro? Yeah, is your bloodline, is your bloodline succeeding, or is it in a state of degeneration? So once we got to really be honest with ourselves on where we're at and try to take a stance against what's happening. We try to blame other people. Yes, officers, the police, they're doing some mean things to people in the community and over the world. But that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But if we understood the nature of prosperity and success, our confrontation with law enforcement, it'll be minimal, because we wouldn't need to go in the direction that we are being led to go. You know, it's not saying I went down a mean road in life. I learned a lot in it, but it was something that I made a declaration that I didn't want that for my kids. I have 6 boys. How you doing, brother? And I have 6 boys, and I had to make a decision on whether I was gonna, allow my process of coming up and what I've been through. I had to determine, was I going to allow that to keep going in my bloodline, or was I going to stop it? And I took a stance against it about 3 years ago. I think it was 2016, March. It's just about 3 years ago that I committed myself to really learning about my body, about life, about the things of the world. Because the way to change something is to really go into the problem. You have to go into the problem to change the problem. And a lot of times the problem that we're focused on, we be done judged it so bad until when we focus on it, it hurt us. So, and I understand now why Jesus said, he out of all the things he could leave with his disciples, he said he leave his peace with them. He said he leave his peace, because peace is what's necessary for us to see the things in a way that it will cause success and prosperity. See, if you can't be peaceful, even within ourselves, if we can't maintain a level of peace within, it'll be challenging to see ourselves in a different location than what we are, because we got to examine ourselves with respect to what's going on in the world. How do I want my bloodline to affect the world? Is my bloodline, will it add to the problems in the world, or will my bloodline help to resolve some of the problems in the world? That's where your service come in at. It's not saying that, even in the book, it says, our service, if you want to be great, serve. So, and that has to do with, meditating. We meditate all the time, but we do it for the wrong reasons. When somebody makes us upset or angry, meditation is just a way of forming things to get something done. So with respect to meditating, we go right back to Joshua. It said, meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. Then thy way shall be prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Success and prosperity is tied to meditating. Is my bloodline prospering? Is it successful? it's moving. It's moving in a direction to where my angle with my bloodline is to produce kids that will help establish peace on the planet with respect to our challenges within in my bloodline. And one of my challenges was academics. I hated anything academic. I hated to read. I hated all of it. There's no way that a person could have told me right now in my life that I would be into reading and studying, into forming myself as I did. You know, even 10 years ago, I wasn't like this. But I started looking at the potential of releasing kids into the world that will potentially take away or be degenerative in their actions in the world. You know, I'm not blaming no one. Like I said, I used to try to blame my dad. I used to blame my uncles. I used to blame, grandma. I used to blame mother. But then once you get to doing your research on the history of the family, you'll realize that, grandma and mom, they was worse off than I was, because of their upbringing. So it's not like that they have, you can't hold them responsible for something that they didn't have. They just gave you or gave me something that they gave me all they had. They did all they knew how to do. But was it enough? To me, at the time, it wasn't enough. Because when you get to comparing your life with the lives of others, you will look at your parents and the people that brought you up or raised you, you'll get to looking at them in a critical way. Why didn't I have this? Or why didn't I do this? But with respect to your bloodline, my grandmother, she did the best she could. She had 12 kids. Neither one graduated. I didn't graduate. I got kicked out of school in the 10th grade. But I seen the value in it as I got kids. When I got kids, my whole life changed. So my take on my outlook or perspective on life changed. And I seen the necessity for me to form myself so that my kids, when they meditate on me or watch me, see, because they're going to mirror, your kids mirror your actions. So it's not the kids' fault when they hit 15 or 16 or 17 that they spin out of control as they do, as we do. It's not their fault. It's not our fault. Because it's just like a computer when you get one from Walmart. When you get it, it's empty. There's nothing on it. So once you go to access the computer, what do you expect to be on it? Nothing. Just like a baby. You get a baby, a 2-day-old baby. What information does that child have on it? Nothing. So now, whose fault is it when the child reach 15 or 16 years old that this child just starts spinning out of control? Is it the fault of that child, or is that child a product of its environment? It's a question that we must really ponder. It's not to blame anyone. It's just really for us to just take a stance as a society, as a neighborhood, to support one another in changing the curse that's upon the bloodlines. Because each bloodline has its own challenges. Some bloodlines deal with alcoholism. Some bloodlines deal with pornography. Some bloodlines deal with thieving. Some bloodlines deal with a lot of like womanizers. Some bloodlines, it's just we just have our challenges within our own bloodline, and we got to take a stance against those challenges or what we call generational curses, so that it won't be perpetuated throughout. Like my kids, I don't want my kids to do some of the things that I did. That's why I had to take a stance against that. I had to stop it. And the way to stop it was to get more information in me, to form myself, so that when they see me moving, they will mirror what I do. So if I don't like what they're doing, I must check my movement. I got to check my movement, because the kids, they can't distinguish, 10 years old, and we want them to distinguish between what I do and what I say. No, what I do and what I say need to be equal, and that way it don't confuse them. And I understand now why the book says train up a child, because to train a child is not to speak to them. It's to let them see you doing something. So when they meditate on you, their actions will be according to what you will have them to do in your bloodline. Now, I study a lot. I read every day, and I let my boys. I let them know. I let them see the necessity of getting information in. I want them to see that. I watch movies. Just the other day, I watched the movie with my boys and my little baby. Yeah, it's the Hate U Give. It's a pretty good movie. It's a good movie to kind of expound on and open up conversation with your kids. Because it's really the reality of what's going on in the world. That's reality. That's what's happening in the world. So, and a good way to really open up conversation with your kids is to pick some movies that you can kind of expound on, that will cause them to ask questions, and a lot. And even if you don't have the answer to that question, don't. It'll be wise not to shut them down, but to hey, I don't know the answer right now, but I will find out. And we stop the process of our kids learning because we might not have the answer to questions, and we've been conditioned to tell the kids, don't question. Do it because I said so. Do it because I said so. But to question something is to understand it. So you think about where a kid is at. A kid have very little information in them, and to ask questions, they are being informed. That's what we want. We want our kids to be formed. We want them to ask questions. But the way we've been conditioned, we'll shut them down from questioning us because we feel like they're challenging our authority. No, they're not challenging our authority. They just need to know why something is or why it's not. Because if they know why something is, they can make the proper judgment so that it will become a habit within. Our judgments form our habits. So if we got a habit in us, we need to bring it out of our heart into the consciousness of our mind and meditate on it and rejudge it. I had to rejudge plenty of my uncles. I had to rejudge my dad. Because even in my ignorance, even when we're young, even kid 9 years old, 7 years old, whatever judgments kids make against their parents, that's what's finna drive their life. Even in their ignorance, that's what's finna drive their life. So I'll be so careful now to speak with my kids on judgments. And we have to do that. Because whatever judgment you make, I don't care at what age you are in your life, if you make a judgment, that's finna become your habit. That's finna become your movement. That's finna become your culture. So to effectively change, to make a change, is like the book says, meditation. Meditate therein day and night. And it ties prosperity and success to meditation. And our kids, their movement is a result of them meditating on our actions and our behavior and our words. We got to be real careful because it's like, I seen a family of like geese and duck. They may have about 5 or 6 little youngs, following them. They don't tell them what to do. They just go, and whatever the offspring see the mother goose, whatever they see that the mother do, that's what they gonna do. Whatever they eat, whatever the mother eat, that's what they eat. Whatever they stay away from, that's what they stay away from. So it's more or less like the way that we've been conditioned, we are conditioned in a way to where It's confusing to young people. It's confusing to our kids to try to form, to try to develop. It's very confusing. So with that being said, I'm here. You see, at the grade. I spent just about the last 3 years at the grade, and some people want to know why do you hang at the grade? Why do you hang at the cemetery? Because it's the beginning of the end. The system that I was brought into the world through, that system, I got to put an end to it so that I could become free and be an agent of change. See, because a miracle equals a calculated change. And a disaster equals a change that we did not calculate. A calculated change equals success. A calculated change equals a miracle. So with respect to that, the bloodline that most of us come through, I want to speak about my bloodline. They didn't teach me how to calculate the change that we needed in our bloodline. It wasn't taught to me. So with respect to where I am and where I want to be, I got to calculate that change. I got to get still. I got to sit still. I got to be still and determine what I want my offsprings to go into the world to be, to do. Do I want them to add to the world or take away from it? Well, ask yourself that question. What state is your bloodline in? What state? What's the curve of it? Look back. Generations. Can you look back 3 generations? I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know my grandparent. My grandfather, rather. I don't know him. So it's like I'm trying to establish now continuity between my father, me, and keep it going, because the depthness of the continuity of a bloodline going to determine the strength of it. We want it to form. We want to keep forming. I can't, hey, how you doing, Mr. Lilly? But the thing is we, especially men, we got to come together. And I'm here at the grave, at the cemetery. This is where it started. This is where it started, right here. We got to put to rest the system that we was brought into the world through. Because it's not that system that's going to cause us to prosper. Because the system that delivered us into the world got a lot of challenges with it. And those systems are systems that continue to produce curse in the world, disaster in the world. So with respect to what's happening in the world, just ask yourself, am I adding to what's happening or taking away? What does change look like? How can my bloodline help to solve or help establish peace in your neighborhood, in your society? Because we got to start somewhere. We got to take a stance against something. We can't keep letting it go. And the things that we must do, we first got to learn. We first got to become aware of ourselves. Me. That's what I did first. I had to become aware of me. What make me tick? See, because a lot of us got things in us that we're not even aware of why we even feel like that. You know, we just know that certain things we don't like, we feel certain ways about it, you know, but it's because that we was conditioned by the school system, we was conditioned by mother, father, we were conditioned by uncle, cousin, grandma, granddad, we were conditioned by the the boys, girls club. We just seen a lot of things that we made judgments about that we really need to evaluate, because so that we won't be reactive, but we will be proactive, which means that when we see, being proactive is the nature of faith. I don't want to look at you and condemn you for what shape that you may be in, or I may be in. I want to look at you, or look at myself, as what I can become, my potential. What's my strengths? What's your strength? You know, even they used to tell me I talk too much when I was small. Why shut your mouth? They say I talk too much. Okay, I come to find out, I guess that's something that I needed to form. That's what you want. You want somebody talking a lot. Just give them the right topics to talk on. Don't snuff them out. That's what we'll do a lot of times, is snuff them out. Don't snuff them out, because we need somebody talking, and talking boldly about it too. And the way that to form ourselves internally is to meditate. The way to prosper is to meditate. The way to succeed is to meditate. Meditate enables us to concentrate our energy on one topic. Meditation enables us to concentrate our energy on one topic. Even the book says meditate. But when we mention the term meditation in the context of church, it's almost like it's a taboo topic. You know, like in the book telling us to meditate, it's telling us to meditate. Because meditation just helps you to form things. Meditation helps you form your name. That's why the book Jesus say, don't be afraid of nobody, that can kill your body and not your soul. See, your name represents your soul. See, you may be able to take my body out, but you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing with my name. You can't. Only I can destroy my name, and God can destroy my name. Can't nobody else destroy my name but me and God. So you can hurt my body. You can inflict pain on a person or oppress my body. But there's nothing you can do to my name. My name represents my soul. And my soul is with respect to the agreement that I got. It's going to cause me to react to the world or respond to the world in a certain way. And it's more or less, that's the nature of the repentance process, is the contract that was installed in us by the people that raised us. Is it benefiting you now or not? If it's not benefiting you, we must push pause and reconstruct the program in us. We must push pause and reconstruct how we respond or react to the world. Because I was reacting a certain way to things in life and really didn't understand why I was doing it. And when I really pulled myself out of the game over the last 3 years, I realized a lot of my reactions and response and the way that I interacted with the world was a result of, how I seen my grandmother, how I seen, my uncles, how I seen my dad, and that was basically a personal preference of theirs. Was it right? No. That was their personal preference that I judged as being my truth. So now, if I judge a person's preferences to be my truth, their preferences then finna start leading my life. They finna cause me to react to certain things. So now, with respect to that, I had to evaluate to see whether I wanted my kids to duplicate what I was doing or how I seen the world, or I need to change it. And I need to talk with my kids. I need to express to my kids. Even now, I tell my kids certain things in certain ways that I am now. I let them know. No, the way that I responded to that is not right. I'm changing that. I'm in the process of changing that. Let's not get stuck right there, because it'll hold you. It'll hold us. So I just feel kind of compelled, to share this, because it's a lot happening in the world today, and we blaming other people for certain things. It's not justifying anything that anyone do, but we at what point are we going to stop to say, evaluate our bloodline, to see where has it came from and where do it look like it's going? If it look like it's going in a direction other than a way that's going to be prosperous and of success, we need to push pause. We need to push pause and stop it and try to see what can we do to form, or go get more information. Okay, what's happening in the world? What do the world need more of? Do it need more peace? Okay, what areas would help us in the world? We need people that understand what's happening in here. We need people that understand how to control the movement, because we're being led by a program that we don't have no clue as to the details in it. We're just moving. I go back to the computer. Whatever you put whatever you put in a computer, when you go to access it, that's all you're gonna get out of it. You won't get nothing else out of that computer other than what you have put in it. And we people, we are just like computers. When a computer get a virus on it, years ago, it used to take a long time to get that virus off of it. Well, a lot of us coming up, that we get viruses. Even right now today, just by hearing a lot of stuff, we get viruses. We get information that really taint our thought pattern, that kind of destroy our thought, train of thought. So if we're not going in the way that we know that we would like to go, we got to check our program. We need to check our program to see, okay, maybe I need to restore the computer. I need to restore this computer. I need to restore it so that I can get a different experience. Because my body is just like, it stores all the information. My body, it stores the information. And the more, and just like a computer, when it's got a virus on it, and you could be looking at the screen instead of be jumping. It'll go to flipping from one page to the next. The screen get all jumpy, erratic. It's because of a virus. There's something in it that don't supposed to be in it. Something got attached to something that you downloaded. And it's just like with us as humans, when we hear something, okay, what's attached to the information that we're hearing? What's attached to it? What's attached to that information? Are we downloading a virus with the information? Because a lot of times we could talk to people, we have conversation with people, and when we leave away from around them, what happens is you will leave away from around them, and then you continue to think of some of the stuff that was said, and you wonder, why am I continuing to thinking about this? Because it was viral in nature. You got to evaluate the things and the people, the things you hear, the things you see. We have to evaluate it. We have to evaluate the things that our input. We have to evaluate our inputs. We constantly have to evaluate it, because just by hearing a residual conversation, it can taint your way of thinking. I'm talking about, you don't have to even be in the conversation to be affected by it, because our ears is going to pick up information automatically, and even to see information is going to taint our thought pattern. And then we wonder why, when we get along, we can't focus very well, because we have so many accounts in us that we just judge so much stuff. We judge a lot of things, and we judge it the wrong way based on our conditioning. And it's just more or less, we just need to just take time to evaluate our conditioning, evaluate the culture that we was given, the culture that we was brought in. We got to evaluate it to see if it's working for us in our bloodline, because we responsible for our bloodline. I'm responsible for my kids. I'm responsible for trying to get the right information and the right program in them so that they can operate according to a plan of peace, you know, and prosperity and success. So yes, I do my best to teach now my kids, you know, meditating, to talk to them about things that's happening inside, the systems inside, and why we feel the way we feel about certain things. And, you know, it's just more or less to find a way to explain it to them. Because what we'll do when the kids ask certain questions, they are ready to receive it. You know, whether we know it or not, we need to just go find it. Every time my kids ask me something that I don't know, I say if I don't know it, I don't know. I'll go find out though. Because I'd rather for them to hear it from me than to hear it from someone else. And then it actually pushed me to grow. Because we are actually writing the program for the kids. So when they hit a certain age, you know, they finna go on autopilot. Just like I say, the movie, The Hate U Give, yeah. The Hate U Give. It's got a pretty good storyline. Because it's basically saying the hate that we give kids, the hate that we show around them, the hate that we display in our relationships with one another around kids, we writing that program in them. And once they hit that age where they feel like they're grown, it's on autopilot. They're finna give us back what we gave them 10 years ago. They finna give it back to us. They finna let us know what they got in them now. That's why we have to be real careful of what we say and what we do around them and where we let them go. You know, because I try to be real careful about, you know, who and where I let my kids go. Because it's about like a computer. If you let somebody use your computer to go on, you know, and they get on the web surfing it, you don't know where they done went, your computer's subject to a virus. And then you get it and you get the access and you wonder how all the stuff gets on it. And okay, you let somebody borrow your computer. And now it's acting a way that's contrary to, you know, what you know it to act. And it's the same way with the kids. It's the same way. We got to make sure that the kids are getting the proper information. We can't help that. We can't be with them to protect them all the time when they out or from around us. But what we can do is talk about the issues that's happening in the world, try to get it to them in some kind of way or fashion to let them know that this is going to happen, but this is what you need to do. This is your mindset toward this topic right here. We need to find a way to talk about it. You know, we must talk about it. We don't just let it go and then let the world form them. You know, that's very that's going to be, you know, like a disastrous to your bloodline. Because I'm just trying to take responsibility for my bloodline, so that my bloodline, me and my bloodline, can help extend our services to other people's bloodlines. And I tell my kids, my boys, the same thing. We finna work on challenges within the bloodline, and then those same challenges, other bloodlines may have the same challenges that you probably can be a light to help, you know, deliver them from their challenges. Because that's what it's about. Us helping one another to be free of the bondage of what's happening inside. Because it's just like a country. The country. That's why they bring it to us. They bring it to us in a kingdom concept, because inside of us, it's a kingdom. Every single name in us represents a state. If you know 1,000 people, you have 1,000 states inside of you. Because if you focus on each one of those names individually, what feeling would you get? See, a state produces a feeling. See, a state is an atmosphere. You go to Florida. Florida is a different feeling than Kansas. Kansas is a different feeling than Washington. See, it's a different feeling. In all of those states, each state got something that is known for producing. And it's up to us when we get in that state to how to what we produce when we in that state. So if you focus on a name in you, and it's a negative feeling to it, you might want to push pause and correct that feeling, because that's a bad state. Because it's not the human being that's productive. It's the state that we get in that produces the output. So if our output isn't like we need it to be or like we want it to be, we got to evaluate the state. And the way to evaluate the state is to meditate on that name. You got to meditate on that name. Yeah, you might have to rewrite some of the judgments that you done made about that name. You got to rewrite the judgments that you made about that name, so when you focus on that name, it'll be a different state that come upon you. Either you got to close that account or you got to rewrite that account. It's one of the two. You either close the account or rewrite it. Either you change the vibe, the angle to that name, or you cancel that name. Because what we want is, we need peace within us to be productive in life like we ought to be. We need peace. And if we don't have peace with the names in us, it's going to be challenging to move like we ought to move in life. See, our mind is the governor of every name that's in us. The names are stored within our soul. If I think about, how do I feel when I think about my wife? How do I feel when I think about, my mother? Do I feel good? Do I feel bad? See, because whatever state that you get in, you finna pull a mission accordingly. So now we need to think about, even with our kids, really, what image are we displaying in front of our kids, even of ourselves? How have they judged us? Is our actions like we will have our kids to go when they are not around us? No, see, we have to make that determination. We have to examine ourselves so that our kids won't make the wrong judgments about us. Because if they make the wrong judgments about us, they finna move accordingly. And then now we just really continuing the cycle of a curse, to where you got an unproductive bloodline, or you got a degenerative bloodline, or a bloodline that's in a struggle. And that's what I set out to do. I want to help stop the struggle that's in the bloodline. I want to help stop it. I want to help stop the disaster that's in the bloodline. And so it's got to be a different talk, and it's got to be a different walk, especially in front of the kids, because it's the kids that's going to actually carry out the bloodline, and then their kids. So that's kind of where I'm at with my bloodline. And I just had to share some information because of what's happening in the world. Everybody got their responsibility of really correcting what's happening in their bloodline. If everybody turned their attention to their bloodline and correct the challenges in their bloodline, the one guy say, if you take up your cross and follow me, take up your challenges and follow me so we can correct them. That's basically the idea of it. That's the moral of it, is to take up your challenges. Take up the curses that's in your bloodline and correct them. Take up the challenges in your bloodline and correct them. And once you correct them, you can then help form or provide a service to others, because you understand the process now. And in fact, you'll probably start drawing people to you that have some of the same challenges. But we first got to deal with our own challenges. We got to first nail our own challenges to the cross. We got to do that. But we are empowered to do it if we want to do it. So what's happening to me, what done happen to me, what done happened to you all, it's not you all's fault, it's not your parents' fault, it's not my parents' fault. It's something that just needs to be addressed, and we need to make a conscious decision whether we're going to let it continue or not. In the book, the big book has attached prosperity and success to meditation. Learn what it means to meditate. I want to reference a superhero for a minute. That's the nature of Superman. You see what happened when he focused on something? He focused on something and get excited about it. You see what happened? Well, it might not be as dramatic as that, but we do it the same way. We the same. When we meditate on something, we meditating on something to concentrate that energy. When we focus on something, if you start talking about it negative, you finna concentrate some negative energy. If you start talking about it positive, you finna concentrate some positive energy. So with respect to where we're at and where we're trying to go, what needs to happen? How does the inner conversation need to happen for us to move from a negative state to a positive state, or from where we want to be to where we would like to be? Because it's not to keep focusing on where we're at. It's what would we like to see? What would we like to see happen? Let's focus on that. Let's start talking about that. I know it's a challenge, because I was set in a way to where when something happened, I automatically start talking negative about it. So if you start talking negative about it, I'm just finna intensify the feeling of being negative about it. So that's going to encourage me to form a negative mission with respect to that topic. And that's adding to all the turmoil and persecution and oppression in the world. So I had to stop myself from doing that. And I'm glad that I was awakened in my life at the age that I'm at now, so that I can actually change it in my bloodline. And that's my drive now, is to change, is to stop the storm that I know as that bloodline or the contract that was in me. I didn't want it to transfer over to my kids. Yes, they're gonna get some, because that's the nature of it. But I talk to them in a way and give them tools and strategies on how to overcome certain things. Even my 9-year-old son, you have to talk to them and give them things. Talk to them. You may think that they don't understand, but they understand more than we think that they do. They understand. And by age 7, a kid is just about, their personality is formed by age 7. So that ought to let you know something right there. A kid, you just about know what a kid finna be by age 7. And we think that they don't understand by that time, but they do. So it had me being very careful and concerned about what I do and what I say around mine. Yeah, we get hot now and say certain things that we ought not to say. But the thing we need to make the determination, where do we want our bloodline to go, and start working on it. And start working on it right around the kids, and let them know what the challenge is in the bloodline. And that's what I do it constantly. I let them know the challenge that's in the bloodline and where we need to try to move from. We're right here, and we need to try to move. We're going this way though. And that's the nature of it. That's the nature of life. We all just need to be responsible, get responsible for making the change in our bloodline. If I can help this brother's bloodline or that sister's bloodline, I will. That's my service. That's my duty. But if I can't help myself, I can't help anyone else. And then I would also run from anything that's got something to do with trying to help anyone. Because the nature of it is to establish peace within first. and then we can establish peace without. Peace is the word. Peace is the order of life. If you remove humans from the planet, will it regenerate or degenerate? Ask yourself that question. If you remove human beings from the planet, will the planet regenerate or degenerate? So now, with respect to that question right there, evaluate your bloodline to see if it's giving to the world or taking away from the world. Peace, always.